Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be about the 5 signs that you are not cut out for private practice. I have been in private practice my whole career as a therapist, and I started my own private practice in 2020. I am an LPCCs in the state of Ohio. And so I know a thing or two about what it takes to create and run a private practice. And I've been getting a lot more questions that are private practice specific. And so I wanted to make this a video so you could watch it and see if you think you are cut out for the private practice world, because it is quite different than working for a mental health agency. So if you are new here, hi, my name is Allyssa Powers, and I created this YouTube channel to teach you the things that grad school didn't so you can thrive as a mental health professional. This video is not sponsored, but it is brought to you by my NCE study guide, which is always linked below if you are studying for the NCE. It is a wonderful resource. It permanently lives for purchase on my website, alyssapowers.com. So check that out if you're interested. And let's get into the 5 signs that private practice isn't for you. Okay, the first sign that private practice is not for you is if you have no interest in marketing. And I can say this with full assurance. Gone are the days where you could take a somewhat blurry selfie, put it on Psychology Today, market yourself that way, not have an external website, not do any SEO, and actually get clients that are going to book with you. I think just with the internet being what it is now, and also therapy being more accessible, for better or for worse, because things like BetterHelp, for instance, if you know, it's not a great company for therapists or honestly for clients, but it has made therapy way more accessible, right? Like all these people who wouldn't have thought about therapy are now seeing their favorite influencers talk about BetterHelp. They're seeing the ads, they're seeing, and not just for BetterHelp, but that's just an example. So you really do have more to contend with. I've heard stories from some of the OG therapists that they used to just have business cards and take them to doctor's offices or, psychiatrists or whatever, and they would fill an entire caseload just off of that. But if you want to succeed in private practice, the number one thing you're going to need is a very solid online presence. So doing things like SEO, building a brand, sometimes having social media, having an email list, having, a specialty that's really appealing to people. All of that is not only necessary, it is essential if you want to make it in private practice. Okay, number 2 sign that private practice is not for you is if you need a super consistent income to survive. So what I mean by this is that if you live in maybe a high cost of living area, or maybe you just have a lot of expenses, or you have a lot of kids that you're supporting, private practice really ebbs and flows. Like there are just times of year that are super slow. One typically being the summertime. Of course, it depends who you work with. I worked with college students primarily, so summertime would be a time when they weren't stressed out with school. So I knew I would have a lighter caseload. I personally liked that because I also wanted to enjoy my summer and have a lighter caseload, but also I live in a very low cost of living city in Ohio where I don't have to worry about meeting a specific financial marker every single month. And not everyone has that luxury. So if you are someone who needs a really consistent income, then private practice might not be for you. I will say there are ways, of course, to plan for this, the down seasons of private practice, and have a savings built up. So it is by no means impossible, but it's something that you might not be thinking about if you haven't already had a private practice. Number 3, you might not be ready for private practice if you are not ready to niche down and be a specialist in something instead of a generalist. Now, hear me out. I think that when you are first starting out as a new clinician, it's perfectly okay to, of course, be a generalist. You are, meeting with clients that you probably don't have much control over what their presenting symptoms are, what their demographics are, and that's how you learn what you like and you don't like. I used to see a bunch of couples and I absolutely hate seeing couples. I also don't want to work with kids, and I learned that from my internship and my practicum and being able to figure out like, oh, okay, I'm seeing a theme. I'm on my 5th couple now and I'm still kind of hating it. That's a sign that's not going to be my specialty. But I think that you really, really need to specialize in something eventually if you are going to do private practice, whether it's a modality that you use like IFS or EMDR or existentialism or CBT, or if it's, you work with college students, you work with kids, you do play therapy, you work with first responders, whatever it may be. Say you're booking an appointment to go to the doctor and not just for a general checkup, you have, something's wrong with you. You want to see a specialist, right? You don't want to go to a doctor that is like, oh, I just do a little bit of everything. That's good for like a checkup, but we all want to feel like we are seeing someone who is highly specialized in the problem that we are having. And it's also just way easier to market yourself if you have some sort of specialty. So when I was marketing myself, I tried to rank for keywords such as young adults and college students, or religious trauma, or adult ADHD. And people found me through those keywords. Not many people are just typing in therapist into Google. Even if they are, they're probably putting, therapist, Cincinnati, Ohio, or whatever. So be a specialist, not a generalist, if you are ready to take that step in your career. Okay, number 4, this one might be a little more controversial, a little more spicy, but if you are someone who has a bad relationship with money, then I would say private practice is not for you until you work out those issues. Because owning a private practice, you are a small business owner. You have to be, one, financially literate and be able to figure out taxes, payments, billing, sometimes, insurance claims and things of that nature. And I see so many therapists talking about how they're uncomfortable collecting a no-show, they're uncomfortable charging clients their full fee. And I just think it is so crazy because I know that people who get into helping professions have beautiful souls and hearts, but at the same time, like, so do doctors, for instance, to use that analogy again. And you wouldn't dream of just telling your doctor, like, I'm just not going to pay you, right? Like, you would go in knowing that it's going to cost you something or that your insurance is going to cover it. So if you have a bad relationship with money, that is something you need to get into therapy about yourself. You need to read about. There are so many good books. I have read a ton of financial books, and I love The Simple Path to Wealth is probably my favorite book I've ever read. I can't remember who it's by, but that is the name of it. Just a little blurb in there. But healing your relationship with money is going to be key because you are starting a private practice because you want to be able to sustain yourself and probably work less and have, more freedom. And number 5, I will keep it short and sweet. If you are someone who has a chronic illness or you need really good healthcare, you are going to be meeting with specialists and things of that nature throughout the year. It's just something to keep in mind that most therapists are either buying their health insurance off the marketplace, which often is a high deductible plan. Not to say that you can't get a better plan, but healthcare in our country is so incredibly messed up, or they are on their spouse or partner's health insurance. I've said it before. I made some people angry in my comments that it's something to think about if you are partnered or married, that if your spouse has good healthcare and like consistent income, it really does enable you to do all of this way more easily. And I'm not saying that a single person who is not partnered can't do private practice. Of course, that's like far from what I was trying to say with that, but it's just the reality of being an adult. Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. Maybe you have, you know, some sort of issue with your health that you're trying to sort through. It might not be your time for private practice if you don't have great options for healthcare. All right, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your comments below about what you think of this list of 5. Is there anything you agree with, disagree with, would add, would subtract? I love to hear about those of you that are thinking about starting your own private practice. It's one of the best things I ever did. And I'm so glad you're here. Please subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I will see you next time. Bye.